Guys, I'm sorry, but like literally right before I started filming this, I remembered that Conan Gray's new song dropped tonight. Not the date at which you're probably able to see that this video was uploaded, but literally like right before I started filming this, the night that I am filming this is the night that Conan Gray's final single from his new album Found Heaven dropped, and it's called Alley Rose, and people were hyping it up like it was gonna be like the first genuine love song he wrote, and in certain ways it is, but like it's Conan. We know what Conan does to us. I called cap on that shit immediately, and of course, I listened to it, and yeah, there's aspects of it that are very love ballady, and it sort of starts out as like, oh my god, is this gonna be a love song? No, it's still fucking devastating. I did watch his brand new interview with Zach Sang, though, on the Zach Sang show. Hey, that rhymed. I watched his new interview on the I watched his new interview with Zach Sang, though, on the... Why can I not speak? I watched his new interview with Zach Sang, though. Yeah, I watched it on the Zach Sang show. That right there is a Billboard #1 Zach Sang. If you're watching this, I am requesting that you bring me on your show. I am a musical genius. Anyway, I'm just feeling a lot of things emotionally right now because holy shit, this song was so... Like, it wasn't what I expected it to be, but god damn it, it was so good. Conan Gray is such a good artist. If you've never listened to Conan Gray, please take a deep dive into his discography. He's only released 2 full albums and one, I think, like 5 to 7 song LP. It was Sunset Season, that was the LP, and then it was Kid Crow, that was his debut album, and then Super 8, which was his sophomore album, which proved the theory of the sophomore slump completely wrong, especially for him and a lot of modern day melancholic pop artists. And he has his 3rd album on the way. It is called Found Heaven. It is a complete genre shift, and it's so fucking good. The single that he just released tonight that I've been talking about, Alley Rose, that was the 5th single, so if he's doing it the same like what he did with Super 8, then that is the final single from the album, and the album is coming out on April 15th or April 9th, I don't know, or is it Tortured Poets Department that's coming out on the 15th? I don't fucking know. Oh my god, the amount of people that probably clicked on this video, like the amount of cinephiles, I'm a cinephile too, the amount of cinephiles and film bros that probably clicked on this video because it's a guy reviewing a Martin Scorsese film, and suddenly they're being bombarded with an 18-year-old college freshman talking about Taylor Swift and Conan Gray. I am sorry for your disappointment that you are undoubtedly feeling right now. Let's get into the video. So as you guys know, I have been reviewing each and every film that is nominated for Best Picture at this year's Oscars, and my original goal was to get all the reviews for those movies that were nominated for Best Picture before the actual Oscar ceremony, but that's this Sunday, so I don't think I'm actually going to be able to review all of them before the actual ceremony, but I'm still going to knock all of them off the list, just also a matter of like reviewing the vast majority of movies that came out in 2023. As a channel that reviews movies as part of its content creation, I feel obligated to give my thoughts on the majority of big releases that came out last year. So I'm still going to be reviewing all of these movies. Like literally right after I review every movie that's been nominated for Best Picture, I also have a list of other movies that weren't nominated for Best Picture but were given Oscars recognition with the nominations at the very least, and I do plan on hopefully doing videos on each and every one of those. Anyway, now that that insanely chaotic intro is out of the way, yes, we are reviewing Martin Scorsese's latest feature presentation, Killers of the Flower Moon, which tells the true story, if you can believe it, of a gruesome and horrific series of murders acted out upon the Osage Nation in the 1920s. So my expectations going into this movie were actually fairly limited. Obviously, the fact that it's directed by Martin Scorsese is something that's going to get my ass in the seat on day one, even though I actually wasn't able to see this in a theater, much to my disappointment. Obviously, I recognize like the vast majority of the planet that Martin Scorsese is a fucking phenomenal director. He's made classic after classic. He's up there with Spielberg, up there with Tarantino. This is not necessary information for me to tell you. Everybody knows who Martin Scorsese is. But what might be kind of surprising for you to hear, especially given the knowledge that I am a filmmaker myself, filmmaker, writer, actor. I'm really trying to do it all. It's actually kind of insane. I feel like my brain just wants to explode sometimes, but I'm also a freshman in college, literally in film school, pursuing a degree in film and filmmaking, so it might surprise you to know that I'm actually not really a fanboy of Martin Scorsese. I would say that I am a fan because all of his movies that I have seen have basically been fucking masterpieces for the most part, but I'm not like a fanboy where it's like, oh my god, Martin Scorsese movie, oh my god, I'm so fucking excited, my expectations are through the roof, it's Martin Scorsese, oh my god, I literally want to He makes great movies, and that's about as far as my fandom goes. Like, I also recognize like his influence on the film industry and the fact that he's really just kind of a perfect director in every sense. Wasn't he on the Epstein list? I was also, however, very intrigued by the story that this movie was going to be telling, and the fact that it was a true story. And the reason that that aspect of it intrigued me so much was because I was shocked that I had never learned about this story. I did a little bit of research on it when I heard what this movie was going to be about, and it's fucking horrible. Like, a truly dark and shameful chapter in American history. And then I saw that the runtime was gonna be 3.5 hours. But I'm including that as a reason why I was excited for this movie, because I, unlike a lot of people, actually really love when a movie is super long. There's just something so epic about it. It just makes it feel like a really, like, fully realized experience, but that is a formula, technique, approach to filmmaking that is very hard to pull off. You have to make sure you get a lot of things right to convince people to not only see it, but also stay the full 3.5 hours. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the review negatives first, because I always prefer to end on a positive when it comes to film and filmmaking, so let's go ahead and get into it. So I guess this isn't really a full negative, but more so a mixed aspect of the movie for me, and it's not some deeply constructive critical thing. It's really just an overall general notion of the fact that this movie is a lot. This movie, like I said, it is 3.5 hours long, and it's almost 3.5 hours of non-stop, just horrific events. And just you sitting there witnessing the most heinous shit you have ever seen in your life being done to the most innocent of people who are just trying to live their lives. And it pisses you off. It really does, which does work to the movie's benefit as well, and we'll talk about that when I get to my positives. But what I'm saying is, it took me 3 days to finish this film. I had all the time in the world to sit through it in one sitting, but it took me 3 days. I had to take 3 separate breaks. This is a 3.5 hour movie. Took me 3 days because it genuinely is just so emotionally draining, and at a certain point you kind of feel numb to it. So I guess if I were to make this aspect of my negatives constructive, it's not a very enjoyable film. It's not a film that is very entertaining in the sense that other Martin Scorsese movies like Goodfellas, for example, are entertaining. But also a genuine criticism I have with it is that sometimes the story is very hard to follow. This is a very long film. There's a lot of things going on, and there was so many intricacies and corruption schemes going on behind the scenes with the real life events that, I mean, I imagine it was no easy task to write this film. I've heard that this was kind of a passion project for Martin Scorsese, actually, which is really cool that he's finally gotten to make it, because I think the reason it took him so long to actually be able to make it was because he didn't really have the ability to secure funding for a movie like this, which is fucking insane. He's Martin Scorsese. Martin fucking Scorsese would have been a better way to say that. Yeah. Martin Scorsese. Wait, why is that kind of funny? Oh my god. But just because there was so much going on with the real life events, and because even though this movie is 3.5 hours long, Scorsese is trying to condense all of that lore, for lack of a better term, into a movie in general. That's no small feat. I do not envy him that task, but it does at times, unfortunately, work to the movie's detriment, because it does become super hard to follow. And again, a lot of that might be fixed if you just go on YouTube and watch like a real life story explained video, or a Killers of the Flower Moon explained video, or you just do like a Wikipedia search on the actual events and then watch the movie. You're obviously going to get the movie spoiled for you, but it's also real events, so it's kind of a gray area there. It's really just a matter of how you choose to experience the film. And I will not lie, there were moments in the film where I did start to get a little bored, and I almost feel ashamed for saying that, just given the story that the movie is telling, but at the same time, it is the responsibility of the film and the filmmakers to try to keep you invested the entire runtime, and there were a couple scenes in here that I thought could have been trimmed down to maintain my intrigue for longer periods of time, but they were really few and far between. And that's really all of my criticisms with the movie, because hear me when I say this film, I am Gen Z, I am 18 years old, and I'm sitting here telling you that Killers of the Flower Moon is a great fucking movie. While I had my criticism with the fact that some moments of the movie drags, this movie is actually surprisingly well paced for a 3.5-hour film. If this film was shorter and that same number of scenes dragged for me, it would have been a bigger issue. But this film is 3.5 hours long, and the fact that the scenes that dragged were few and far between in a 3.5-hour emotional character drama epic, that's pretty damn impressive. It also has an amazing script and incredible dialogue as a result. Genuinely, it's one of the reasons why the movie is actually so riveting for the vast majority of the runtime, because you're just waiting to see the next words that come out of these characters' mouths. There are certain characters, and especially the characters you're following in this movie, are so intriguing just from an emotional and psychological perspective that you're just really excited to see. So I don't want to say excited, doesn't seem like an appropriate word to use with this movie, but you're just so intrigued to see what happens next and to hear every single line of dialogue. And so it's great that the dialogue is so great. I would liken it to Aaron Sorkin's incredible writing for The Social Network, minus the extremely fast and manic delivery that makes everything sound super important, even in scenes when dialogue may not even be that important. But they're talking really fast and they're walking really fast, so it must be important. I am stuttering a lot in this video. It's not so much like that, but just in regards to the quality of the dialogue, not so much how it's captured and how it's paced, but the quality of the dialogue itself, the writing itself, the way everything is articulated. Absolute perfection. And this should go without saying, but yes, the performances in this movie are absolutely fucking phenomenal. This is one of my favorite Robert De Niro performances in many, many years, and one of my favorite DiCaprio performances of all time, and I'm a big fan of that guy's performances. One thing that I found particularly impressive about DiCaprio's performance in this movie is that Lily Gladstone is above the age of 25, and so I imagine it was quite a challenge for DiCaprio to act as if he was attracted to her character. Okay, but actually, like, what is up with that? What is up with that, man? Like, I love, like, all the environmentalist shit that you do, but, like, what's up with that, man? I'm sorry, I was just binging, like, a bunch of Film Cooper videos, which I know my channel is insanely small, and giving someone like Film Cooper almost has 1 million subscribers a shout out is fucking pointless, but, like, seriously, love his channel, go subscribe if you haven't. My point is, I just binged a bunch of his videos, and I'm just really feeling that energy, the what's up, weirdos? Like, I don't know what it is. I love Film Cooper so much. This video is so off the rails in so many ways. You were talking about Killers of the Flower Moon. All jokes aside, DiCaprio is legitimately amazing in this role, and Lily Gladstone very deservedly has been nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars. And we can have a whole discussion about the Barbie snub and how Margot wasn't nominated. Do I think that Margot should have been nominated? Yes. Do I think that the discourse around the nomination is a little misguided? Because look, I was on that train too. Feminist for the win, for sure. But like, it's just, this is not the discussion for this video. But like, you can't tell me that the Oscars that the Oscar nominations this year are somehow an L for feminism when Lily Gladstone, a native genderqueer actress, has been nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars. Like, are we just ignoring that? Like, look, Margot was amazing in Barbie. I'm pissed that she didn't get nominated. But also look at everybody who did get nominated. Tons of women of color, just, oh my god, like, such a win, such a win. But truly, Lily Gladstone is phenomenal in this film. She broke my heart at several different moments. I also think that this is an extremely valuable story to tell, and as I said, this is a true story, and when you watch the movie, you're like, there's no way. There's no way that this could be a true story, but I honestly feel that, unfortunately, that's just something that's exclusive to people who have grown up in the United States, and I'm not trying to get super political in this video, but what I'm telling you is that I was never aware that this happened until I watched this movie. Had no idea that this was something that even came close to happening until I watched this movie. It seems kind of fucked up because we talked very in-depth about this period of history in all of my history classes throughout elementary school and high school all the way into my senior year, and somehow we just brushed over this. That's, it's kind of fucked up. especially considering everything that went down. It's an extremely valuable story to be told, and especially an extremely valuable story to be told right now in our current political environment, where so many people and so many politicians out there are desperately trying to erase the history of America's darkest chapters. That is not something we need to be doing. We need to look at our history, learn from our history so that it doesn't repeat itself. And I think that is, if this movie has, this movie has many messages, but that was one of my bigger takeaways from it. Maybe not my biggest takeaway, but one of my bigger takeaways from it was definitely that it is important to look back at these times in our history so that we can learn from them. Absolutely. And I loved that this movie had the guts to explore that. Obviously, Martin Scorsese's career isn't good. He's Martin Scorsese. He's not gonna. It doesn't matter what his movies are about. They're always going to make millions of dollars, and he's forever going to be a legend. So I imagine he didn't really have to worry about like his career ending for tapping into super controversial territory. But also the way he tells the story and the way he presents the film doesn't make it feel super controversial or super preachy at all. The film never feels preachy or like it's shoving a message down your throat, and that's another thing that I really genuinely appreciated about it. However, I cannot stress this enough. This film is absolutely fucking devastating. As I said, it took me 3 whole days to actually finish this film just because of how emotionally taxing it is. And a testament to the writing here, once again, the way all the characters are developed is insanely intriguing, which is interesting because the vast majority of the characters that you're following in this movie are some of the most despicable, vile, just demonic people that I have ever seen put to the screen, that I've ever been educated on in regards to history. The fact that these people actually existed. It's just like there are conversations that are had in this movie where people are making plans to do the most horrible, heinous acts that you could possibly imagine. The writer of Seven would have had a difficult time coming up with scenarios this fucked up. And these people are just talking about it like it's just another Tuesday. Like literally over a dinner table, just like, oh wow, this dinner's really good. Okay, so we're gonna kill this person so that we can get this money, and then we're gonna do it like this. And yeah, sound good. Okay, I'm gonna go take a shower, go to bed, have a good night. Like, what the fuck? Which does contribute to the fact that the movie is so emotionally taxing to watch, because so many of the characters you're following are characters that you have every reason to hate, and you do hate. But once again, the performances and the writing make it so intriguing to watch. This is legitimately such a riveting film, which, again, hitting home this point once more, is an insanely impressive feat because of the fact that this movie is 3.5 hours long. I think the way that the story was chronicled and told was insanely effective, and it really left an impact on me. I think this movie has massive educational benefits, although I'm sure that wasn't the full intention of the film, but it is an important film for people to see, and especially people my age, I feel, to see. It's a very important story. It's a chapter of American history that is very dark and really fucked up that we should know about, so that stuff like this never happens again, even though it continues to happen in several other variations on the daily around the world, not just here in the United States. But it seems like I've really only been talking about like the true story aspects of the movie and how it's such a devastating watch, and like how it relates to the true story and the effects and the benefits of all that and everything. But I also want to hit home that just as a film, filmmaking wise, this is a really good movie. Like if this was a fictional film, it works really, really well as this really dark, seedy thriller, almost in the vein of a Fincher film, because you have all of these murders happening, and I wrongly expected going in that maybe it was going to be framed as kind of a murder mystery, you know, all these members of the Osage Nation being picked off one by one. Like I thought it was going to be some like riveting true story of this heinous series of killings, but that's not the approach it takes. You're actually following the people acting out these horrific actions, which it was not the perspective that I thought the movie was going to take, but I guess it's a welcome one in terms of the film, because it's not what I expected. It subverted my expectations, and the way it was written and the way the characters were performed made it very rewarding just as a fan of movies. Not to say that there's not a very intact aspect of mystery and uncovering things here. For the first, I would say 2 hours of this movie, or at least like 2 hours and 15 minutes of this movie, you're just watching all of this shit happen and it pisses you off. You just feel, it makes your blood boil. You feel the anger and the rage boiling up inside you, especially when you spend so much time with the characters in this movie who are part of the Osage Nation, watching how these murders are affecting them emotionally and psychologically, how they're breaking families down, tearing relationships apart, and you just want to see these motherfuckers who are carrying out these horrific crimes get their comeuppance. You want to see them get what they deserve, and that is where the last hour of this movie delivers. The last hour of this film, in my opinion, is some of the best filmmaking that Scorsese has ever laid his hands on. It is some of his best filmmaking today. This is some of my favorite Martin Scorsese content that I've ever seen. There's aspects of the movie that I found extremely emotionally cathartic, but the vast majority of it is really just genuinely so emotionally taxing and exhausting, and it's a lot, but that last hour has all the payoff that you could ever ask for. So guys, in conclusion, Killers of the Flower Moon is a devastating telling of an insanely dark chapter of American history and a truly riveting experience from start to finish. Don't miss this one. Please watch it if you haven't. I think it's an extremely important film to see, and I genuinely think everybody should experience this film at least once in their life. Even if it doesn't have that much rewatch value, it is a genuinely incredible work of art. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos coming very, very soon. I'm working on a bunch of like really big, really long videos that are some of the videos that are responsible, or really the only videos responsible for my massive spike in subscribers that I've recently been experiencing, which, by the way, thank you guys so much genuinely for all the support. The comment sections on the Society of the Snow video, the Walking Dead video, the BoJack Horseman videos, the Saltburn video, genuinely, it means the world to me. All the support genuinely means the world to me. I love doing this. I love making content for people. I love expressing my thoughts on art and artistic expression. So truly, it means everything to me, and I want you guys to know that. And with that being said, if you haven't subscribed, please consider going down below, hitting that subscribe button, leaving a like on the video, and if you want to go the extra mile, turn on bell notifications so you get notified every time I upload new content. Guys, once again, thank you so much as always for watching. I will see you in the next video, and until then, keep writing, keep shooting, and keep editing.